Well, good morning or good evening, whatever. I'm not too sure what it is there. Here it's afternoon, here in Shanghai, Sunday afternoon. As you may have noticed, I'm not there. I don't know what's happening with the visa, but we know it's in God's hands, and God knows best. I'm quite peaceful with that. In the meantime, we had a great Sunday meeting with the church here. Some really good people, and I just pray that the work that we do is going to really have a lasting good effect here in the future of China. As you know, we're doing a series called What is Church? And I'm the kind of person, I like to know where I'm going. So just to reiterate our goals, where we're coming from. Our goal is 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 14 and 15. You see, here Paul writes the reason why he wrote this letter, and it shows that this teaches us how one ought to conduct themselves in the church. So we're doing a series on what is church, and we've already established that the church is commanded, people that are commanded by God. The church is filled with Jesus' eternal hope. We have hope that will never die because God can never die. We are hopeful people. Thirdly, we are family. We look after each other. Fourthly, we're filled with peace. We sin, we mess up, but because of God's grace, we have a new beginning, we have peace. We're also tough. Timothy was in a tough situation in the church in Ephesus, and as Christians, we are tough. Because God is with us, we do not give up, we hang in there and we complete our task. We also looked that we trust God. There's some areas of Christianity and life which we don't really know which is doctrinally correct, and the Bible doesn't really give an answer. In those areas we step back and we say, God, it's your grace that carries us, and we trust God. That's where we've gone so far. So without a waste of time, let's get straight back into it. 1 Timothy chapter 1 verse 6. Paul says here, for some men, straying away from these things, have turned aside to fruitless discussion. Now some Bibles say meaningless discussion. I like the word fruitless more, because to some people, they are really into something, and to them it's not meaningless. Okay, like one man's trash is another man's treasure. As churches, we get so caught up in meaningless and fruitless discussion, sometimes because we don't realize it is meaningless. For example, in Cape Town a few years ago, a brother spent weeks writing and perfecting this booklet on why hand clapping is antichrist. On the other hand, some people may consider a booklet on baptism to be fruitless. Well, how can we determine exactly what is fruitless and what is not? I think the result is quite easy. You see, Jesus one day was standing out there in Samaria. He looked at the fields and said to the apostles, the fields are ripe for harvest. You see, the fruit that God really cares about is people being saved. And we need to ask ourselves, the things we get so worked up about, the things we spend so much time discussing and debating, are these resulting in people being saved? If the result is not someone coming closer to Christ, then it is fruitless. And these kind of discussions do not belong in the church. Here's something else to think about. A lot of lessons are taught, but they do not produce the fruit of the Spirit. They are fruitless. See, sometimes we sit in lessons, and I've been there, you've been there, I've perhaps preached a few of these. In fact, I know I have. You preach these lessons, and the brother preaching is really into it, and he's a good brother with a good heart. And you sit there listening to the lesson, but you're thinking, this does not help my life. Many teachings are like that. Many discussions we have are just theoretical. That's not Christianity. That was the problem that Jesus had with Pharisees. He said to them, You study the scriptures because you think in them you have eternal life, but these testify of me. The Pharisees were really into the scriptures. They were studying. They were studying to find God, and they were looking right at God and did not recognize him. You see, our lessons need to be fruitful because we are living in a real world with real challenges. We have divorce, pornography, substance abuse, loneliness, doubt, anger, jealousy. The list goes on and on. And if we have discussions that just don't address it, how on earth are people's hearts going to change? We're not throwing the seed. And if we're not throwing the seed, no fruit will be born. And this is one of the reasons the church often does not connect with the real world. Many people see the church as obsolete. It just doesn't apply to my real life. That's why many people have a Sunday religion and the rest of the week is not touched by Jesus. Fruitless discussions. But Jesus was very practical. Let's think about it. What do the divorcee and the lonely need? Why is that guy going online looking at internet porn? Why is that girl going to parties and drinking herself into a stupor every weekend? What is it that they really need? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness,